All right, off to peak number 3 of 50 in my 50-state challenge. Flew in this morning. I got a couple hours of driving. This is actually one of my favorite drives, about 2 hours. I start low, start in the Sonoran Desert, Wile E. Coyote kind of territory, and then you drive up to, I think we're going to be at about 6,000 feet where I'm staying tonight, and then higher for tomorrow's hike. But one of my favorite drives, beautiful views, beautiful rest stops with views. You don't hear that a lot, but this has it. This got it. And we're going to go climb a peak that was once part of what was the highest peak in the lower 48s. It was about 16,000 feet estimated, and they say it erupted, blew up about somewhere between 400,000 and 200,000 years ago when I was a kid, way back then. And now one of the some of the remnants there, it blew up kind of like Mount St. Helens and formed a U shape, and one of the remnants of that explosion is the highest point in the States. If you didn't guess it, I will let you know shortly. But we're gonna go do that, and I'm actually meeting somebody. I have a special guest for this hike, and I will reveal them shortly. I gotta find them first, but yeah, that's the plan, so let's drive. I was running a little bit ahead of schedule, so I decided to go up to the trailhead to do a little bit of recon the day before the hike. I'd gotten upgraded to this BMW rental car, which had this fancy little heads-up display, which was neat, but this car ended up being a major pain in the butt. I'll tell you about that at the end of the video. Saw a Cybertruck in the parking lot. I cannot decide whether these are ridiculous or cool, but obviously if I was driving one, I probably would love it. I did a short little leg stretcher, about a mile or so, and then got the drone out to see if I could get some epic shots of the mountain. Didn't really turn out as good as I liked, but still neat to see. Back at the hotel, I got my gear ready for the next morning. I'm still rocking the Osprey Hike Light 26. Love this pack, love the vented back on it. Garmin InReach Mini 2, about a liter of water. Still using the Topo Athletic Pursuit 2 shoes, which I love. I'll do a video on those soon, but overall, same old kit that I have probably in my last hiking gear video. Nothing like waking up in the morning to have your watch tell you that maybe you shouldn't be hiking today, but not an option. Not gonna rest. We're gonna do this hike. On my way to the hike, the car was driving kind of strange. I realized I had a flat tire on my run flat tire. No spare in the car, would have to deal with that later. All right, it's about to start the hike. Got a couple buddies with me today. Got Greg from OverWatch and Rescue, who you know from Muir Woods we did together many moons ago. This is Connor from OverWatch and Rescue. The hat is a giveaway. And we're here. I went ahead and got a flat tire this morning because that's what I do. And we're gonna do the hike, take it slow. Hopefully the weather holds up. Looks okay. It's supposed to rain later today, but who knows? We'll see what's going on. We started around sunrise from the trailhead, and if you didn't figure it out yet, we're hiking to Humphreys Peak, the highest point in the state of Arizona. The hike's just under 10 miles, about 3,300 feet of climbing or so. We start at the Arizona Snowbowl ski area. We have some gentle switchbacks going up. Actually, not so gentle. It's a little bit steeper at the end, and then we come out on this ridge here where it's all exposed. We have some false summits to navigate, and then we get up to Humphreys Peak at 12.6. Here it's 34, but I've seen 33 most other places. In the beginning, you have to navigate the ski area here. There's some little reroutes because of construction. It's a little bit tough, kind of straight up the slope, but pretty soon we'll be in the woods. We have to go straight up the ski slope here. It's a pretty harsh way to wake up on a trail, but at least after this we get a breather. After about a half a mile, we head into the trees. The hike gets a lot nicer, in my opinion. There was this old timer kind of straggling along with us for a little bit, but once we're in here, the gradient eases up and we can kind of get into a rhythm. Here we are entering the Kachina Peaks Wilderness. Kachina is the Hopi word for spirit beings, and Humphreys Peak is actually considered sacred by lots of different native peoples, including the Hopi, Apache, and Navajo. At about 2 miles in, we get to this nice little viewpoint out of the trees at the scree field, and if you look down in the distance, I think that's Kendrick Peak in the distance there. And if you look up, you might see wreckage of the B-24 bomber that crashed here in 1944. In 1950, the Forest Service had to blow that wreckage up because people kept reporting it as a fresh plane crash. Usually I do these hikes alone because I'm documenting the trail, but in this case I had Greg, who's the CEO of OverWatch and Rescue, and Connor, who works there, to have a little geek time, talk satellite communicators and search and rescue.
So yeah, you know, talking about these rescue helicopters and how in many cases the backcountry rescues, there's not going to be any charge associated with it, but there are areas and locations, Lewis and Clark County in Montana, as an example, they don't have their own air assets, so they contract it out. So if you need a backcountry rescue and a rescue helicopter, you're gonna pay. It's just the way it is. And in the US, right, I hear a lot of times people say, well, I'm gonna send the bill to my health insurance. Well, the first question we ask is, were you in network or out of network?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're out of network, good luck. And by and large, they still won't cover it, even if you are in network. So it's just some financial exposure that we're solving for through OverWatch and Rescue.
And it's a crapshoot because you don't necessarily know when you go somewhere on vacation what the situation is.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why take a chance?
Yeah. Trail started getting steeper and we passed 11,400 feet where you can't camp above. You can't camp above this spot. But I think at this point we were all feeling the altitude to some degree. At about 3.5 miles in, we finally made it to the saddle up at the junction with the Weatherford Trail. From here we would be above the tree line, but we had some great views. This is probably my favorite part of the whole hike here because the views are just incredible. And from here you can also see the summit and the fall summits that we have to traverse on the way, basically following the ridge to the left up along there in the distance. The trail can be kind of tough to spot sometimes, but there are these trail poles along the way. And the beginning has a little bit of scrambling, but then eventually it's just sort of this grind uphill. It's probably the steeper or one of the steepest parts of the hike here, this first stretch along the ridge. It's going to ease up in a little bit, but at this altitude, was definitely feeling it. The one heads up on this stretch is that if there are thunderstorms or any kind of weather, you're going to want to get out of here because it is exposed, it can get windy, and there's definitely nowhere to hide up here. Eventually you get to see the actual summit in the distance after clearing these fall summits. And then here we are, one last little stretch up to the actual summit of Humphreys Peak. And we all made it. I think we were feeling it, but we made it and got up to 12,633 feet. One of the cool things about the summit, aside from obviously the great prominence and views, is that on a clear day you can actually see up to the Grand Canyon. A little bit hazy today, but the last time I did it many years ago, I was able to see it a little bit better. After checking out the trail register, fueling up, we got some pictures with the summit sign, and then started to head back down. The only excitement on the descent was that Connor was taking a picture here of these great views and took a little fall on a loose rock, but he was okay. I was nauseous from the altitude. I was definitely feeling it a couple times. I felt a little lightheaded, but
yeah, fingers got tight a little bit. A little pressure in the head, but no headache.
No.
So, you know, heart rate was manageable. So that was good. Just gonna keep pushing, right?
Yeah, exactly. One step at a time. How about you, Connor? 27-year-old. What was that? Pretty easy?
No, it was challenging. It was fun.
Challenging. Is challenging the kind word you use like with old people?
That was
challenging.
it was a good time.
He only uses that around guys with AARP.
You got 9.8. Let's do a comparison. So that's the all trails on, what do you have, iPhone 15?
Yeah.
15 on my Garmin. I got 10.2. Well, I was running around a lot, so I got 10.28.
Got 12.3.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, the lesson of this hike is don't trust technology. Guys, thank you for the hike.
Yeah, right on, man. We did it.
Thank you.
It's an awesome time.
Yeah, it was good.
Right?
I'm ready to collapse.
I bet you are. Yeah, so am I. Ditto.
Cool.
Right on.
Cool. See you guys. I am cooked and I'm driving on a flat right now, only it's not a flat. It's called a flatless tire, which is flat, but you can drive on it evidently for 50 miles. Was excited when I got an upgrade at the rental car place to a BMW, and I can only imagine now what a tire costs for a BMW. Not so excited anymore. So I'm gonna go to Walmart and try to get some Fix-A-Flat, handle it that way, and head back to the airport. I got a long day of travel ahead of me after this. But thank you to everyone in Arizona who supports me, Rick and Gene, everyone out there. I would have loved to do this with you or get together. This was just a quick in and out trip, but I love Arizona. I love hiking in Arizona, and I will be back, and I'll figure out some kind of thing. Even if it's not a hike, maybe we can all hang out, have a beer or coffee or something. So stay tuned for that. And I have some new high points coming up in the near future, and another hike. That's a classic backpacking trip, so stay tuned for that. And yeah. All right, I'm gonna go drive on my flatless flat tire. See you out there, stay safe, and thanks for watching.